What is up, bitches? It's your boy Nacho, and I'm here today with the UDL Season 5 draft analysis for your Detroit Teravolts. Now, I'm really excited to be starting a new league, and if you're hyped too, please leave a like, and please answer my question of the day I got for you here today. And that is, what do you think is the most overrated Pokemon in draft format? Most overrated, that could be a lot of things. So I'll leave that to you guys to answer, but we need to get right into this because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't want this to be too long. I don't want to be dragging on, so let's jump right into it, right? The UDL is a GBA style draft, so it's got tiers and points, and you'll notice, maybe I'm the only one that noticed so far, but I left off tier 4, but that's okay, no big deal. I fixed it later. It's all bad mons anyway. So we got the GBA style draft here, and however, it is 20 teams instead of 16, so there's going to be a lot more Pokemon going, and I had to kind of adapt to that, right? Because there's a lot more stuff being taken. So now in the draft order, I was number 20 out of 20, which, not ideal, but it's a wheel pick, so that's cool. I always like being the wheel pick, even if it is the last one. So I didn't hate it. Anyway, so let's jump right into it, right? Round one, we're sitting there, 19 people have picked, and we're looking for the best thing available. Well, the best two things, really, because, with the wheel pick, you can kind of grab things that work together really nicely. So I'm looking at what has good synergy. So I picked Mew, and I'm really excited to be using Mew. I don't really need to tell you what it does, because, one, it does everything, basically. You can pretty much ask it to do something, and it's going to do it pretty well for you. And yeah, it's just something that you don't necessarily build a team around. It's just like something you can throw on any team, and it'll probably help you if you're using it right. So let's hope I use it right. So then with my second pick, I was looking at, what does Mew need help with, and there's not a whole lot it needs help with, but if anything, I want to get rid of some dark types, right? So I'm looking at Infernape. I've used Infernape before, and I really liked it because of its versatility and its really good speed tier. And yeah, I mean, versatility is like the main thing, right? It's a really good offensive pivot, and it can be special or physical, and it's got priority, and dude, it's just awesome. And I also sometimes struggle to find fire types that I like and fighting types that I like, and this is probably easily my favorite of both of those typings, so I'm really happy I got Infernape. So anyway, I'm sitting here with my two picks, right? And 38 picks later or whatever, it gets back to me. So I decide, I've got two decently, I'm not super strong. I'm, 100 attack and 100, Mew has 100 in attack and special attack, and Infernape isn't much better. So I need a good wall breaker. So I go for a physical wall breaker. I get Mamoswine. And this thing is literally the core breaker, right? Nothing resists. Well, not much resists ground and ice, and it's got good coverage on top of that. So yeah, I don't really need to explain what Mamoswine does either. It's just a really fearsome thing, and what better to have a good wall breaker like this with than, a good Volt Turn core. If you can pivot into something like this, they basically have to choose a sack. So that's what I was looking for, and I had my U-turn in both Mew and Infernape, so I needed a good electric type, I thought, so I picked up Raikou, and I'm really excited to be using Raikou. I haven't used it before, but it's got, decent bulk, especially special on the special side, and another good speed tier. It's the fastest thing on my team so far. Special attack isn't fantastic, but it's pretty good. Definitely usable. Throw some specs on there or something, or use a calm mindset. Awesome. So I'm really liking what I'm working with here, especially since Raikou can take care of the water types that Mamoswine and Infernape can struggle with. So that's awesome. Now I have to wait, a bunch of turns again, and here we are in round 5. I'm looking at my mega possibilities, and I'm like, you know what? You may have noticed I've got 2 tier 1s and 2 tier 2s, so I'm basically done with those tiers unless I pick a lower tier mega, and I'm not really feeling that. I'm kind of hoping I can grab Mega Gardevoir at this point. So I'm working on that assumption that I'm going to be able to get that later. So I'm like, I need a dragon type, And there's one dragon type in tier 3 that I was really looking at and I've been wanting to use for a long time, and that's Gudra. Now Gudra's really cool in that it's got 100 attack and 110 special attack, and that's really cool, so it can hit on both sides. I like its special move pool a lot better, but it's, you know, the possibilities there, especially with Sap Sipper or something. Hydration's really cool, so I can run Rain Dance Rest or something like that. But yeah, so Gudra's really cool because it can sponge the special hits for days, and it can hit back decently hard too. So yeah, I'm really excited to be using Gudra. I've literally wanted to use this since like day 1 in my draft league career, so finally getting to do it. But to pair with Gudra, I thought I needed something. Really, the only hits I don't want it to be taken, besides, you know, physical attacks, are like Fairy, Ice, and other dragons. So something that covers both of those, or all 3 of those, is Empoleon. And Empoleon also gives me another Stealth Rocker and a Remover. So Mew, you know, I don't want to be running Stealth Rocks or Defog Mew or anything like that all the time. So this frees that up for sure. It's a decent water type. It can phase with Roar, maybe Whirlwind too, I don't know, probably Whirlwind too. But yeah, it's just, I think it gives me a lot of good utility options and is a good, decently bulky steel and water type. So it was around this time, you know, somewhere in round 6 or so, that Mega Gardevoir was taken. So I didn't have my planned Mega pick anymore, and now I'm like, oh, I really don't know what to do anymore. So I kind of resigned to the fact that I could take a lower tier Mega, because there were some options still left, you know, and I could probably kind of work around them, but I would need another good like tier 3 pick. But we'll get to that later. So I figured, you know, there's no more Megas in tier 1 that really makes sense for me to grab, so but something that is running out really fast is a good Fairy type. So I pick up Comfey, which, you know, seems a little underwhelming, but I don't hate it. It's a nice fast Fairy. It's a good kind of cleric, which you know, you kind of see a lot of fairies take that role, and I'm really happy to be using to have that now, that option for, you know, aromatherapy or something like that. But yeah, so Comfey's really cool. You know, not super ideal, but it's a good value pick, I think. And then to pair with that, I like I was saying, I needed something else out of tier 3, and I wanted some removal besides just defog. So I was looking for a spinner, and I'm kind of ground weak right now. You know, I don't have too much that wants to switch into an earthquake, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick up Delmise. So I think Delmise patches up a couple weaknesses for me, gives me a good spin blocker and spinner in one. It's also another pretty good physical wall breaker, although, and you know, it actually has decent coverage too, so that's always nice. And I think it'll work pretty well since it's really only got to worry about dark types, which Infernape can deal with, ghost types, which you know, don't really have much for yet, but and then of course there's like ice and fire types that kind of threaten it too, but I have answers for those. So I'm pretty happy with how my draft is so far. I'm still thinking about my Mega, but now we're coming down to the last couple tiered picks. So the first one, well, actually I had 2 in mind exactly, and the first one I'll talk about is Spiritomb. Sorry, I got a little interrupted there, but anyway, yeah, Spiritomb. So I needed a dark type, and this isn't like the most ideal dark type at all, but it was something that worked. It was bulky, and it gets cool status moves, so it's kind of sort of a support Pokemon that I was kind of looking for. Yeah, I think definitely, well, I'll talk about it later. Anyway, so I had Spiritomb in mind, and it was really kind of more of a support to Weezing. Now, Weezing was a nice physical wall for me, and the reason I chose Spiritomb to pair with it is its only real weakness, since it has Levitate, is Psychic type. So Spiritomb's a decent answer to Psychic type, and any other, what was I trying to say? Oh yeah, basically, if they're thinking a Dark type's going to come in to take the Psychic type attack, they're probably going to go for a Fighting type move, and Spiritomb also covers that too. So I think they had decent synergy. I'll probably, you know, end up doing something else with Spiritomb later on, possibly. we'll see how it works though. You know, I generally like to give the team a couple weeks to kind of get a feel for it and see what I really need to patch up before I do anything too drastic. So anyway, now we're down to our very last pick. We have the very last pick of the draft, and I'm looking at my megas, and I had this kind of in mind for a couple rounds now, and so I'd like to introduce to you our Mega Pidgeot. And I came around to really liking the idea of this thing when I finally settled on it, because it's really cool, right? It's nice and fast. So many interruptions. Sorry about that. Anyway, so yeah, Mega Pidgeot, nice and fast, nice and strong. I didn't really have much for, you know, a special offensive presence, and I think Bird Spam is always really good, and hitting 100% accurate hurricanes is always nice. So yeah, that's the team, right? So looking back on it, I think I could have done a little better in the sense that I don't really have a special wall breaker, and that's a little concerning to me, but that's something I can also patch up later on, or I can try and make work with, like, you know, Specs Gudra, Specs Raikou. Pidgeot's not a terrible one. Infernape can be a special, well, a pseudo special wall breaker with Nasty Plot or something like that. So, you know, yeah, not ideal. I also could have done a little better in having, like, wish support. I would have liked a better fairy than Comfey, but I think I'll give Comfey a chance to win me over. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, I don't have that much in the way of ground resists, and I am a little bit ground weak, but no big deal. Also, I'd like a better Stark type. But yeah, so I'm just being nitpicky, I guess, kind of now. But point is, the team's cool. I like it a lot. I feel pretty comfortable with most of everything that's on here. And I'm excited to use it. So if you're excited to use it too, again, hit that like. Give me a sub if you're not subbed yet, because, you know, I'm going to try and be a lot more consistent with uploads and everything. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you week 1, which will be out sometime later this week. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you next time.